solo pacers. This B-17 was built in 1945 by the Lockheed Vega plant at Burbank, California, and it was delivered to the US Army Air Forces in June that year. They used it, they and the subsequent US Air Force, when it became an independent service, as a training and test aircraft until 1954, when it was sold to France's Institut Géographique National as a long-range mapping and survey platform. It stayed in service with the IGN in France till the mid-1970s, when it was bought by a company called Euroworld and arrived in the UK in 1975. It very rapidly took up residence here at Duxford, and it's been based here in the operation of B-17 preservation ever since. Very sadly, the early mastermind behind the aircraft acquisition and operation, Ted White, was to lose his life in an aircraft accident in the early 1980s. But Ellie Salimbo took up the cudgels and has operated the aircraft ever since. And it operates very specifically as a flying memorial to all the US airmen who were killed in the European theatre between 1942 and 45. The 8th Air Force flying B-17s and B-24s indeed from bases in East Anglia suffered almost half of the US Army Air Force's casualties of the entire war. Survivability of the 8th Air Force's heavy bomber operations was improved significantly when the long-range escort fighters like the P-47 Thunderbolts and P-51 Mustangs we're going to see later in the show came along, also operated by 8th Air Force units. Conditions for B-17 and B-24 crews were still exceptionally tough. This is what Sally B so potently commemorates, and why this aircraft needs to be kept flying for future generations. And the final pass coming up is always performed with smoke on to simulate 2 damaged engines. And apart from the bomber crews of the 8th Air Force, it also commemorates the members and thanks the members of the Sally B Supporters Club, whose memberships, devotion and backing help keep this aircraft flying. To that sort of support for many years to come. up next year, as I say, a big year for this aeroplane. It's 50th anniversary year on the Airshow circuit, and of course next year is also the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, and no doubt Sunny B will take part in many of those commemorations, as it has done now for nearly half a century. Don't forget, the crews of these aircraft and the B-24s were flying missions by daylight over occupied Europe against the threat of flak and enemy fighters. And even though the B-17 was a legendarily tough airplane, I'm sure many of you will have seen some of the pictures of the states in which some flying fortresses managed somehow to limp back to the English coast and land. Nonetheless, their losses were very high indeed. And those crews had little in the way of armour plating to protect them or personal protective equipment to wear. And